Okay, so I'm going to do a quick little rundown of what I've found so far with Marksman Hunter here on the beta so far. A few things just in case you want to see. Item level is obviously a lot lower. Health pool, top left, obviously a lot lower as well. This is at 110. Again, I'm going to double check scaling when we get to 120. But again, this is just at 110. One thing I should note is the haste seems to be kind of fucked up. That 19% haste doesn't translate to the right kind of cast speed, meaning like cast times. So I put in that bug. I think that the tooltip haste scaling isn't right. Um, and obviously, this is stuff that's still in work as it's beta. All right, now actually looking at Marksman, a few cool things that I think are interesting if you don't already know. So, first things first, let's look at some passives here. So, Trick Shot is now passive. So again, when multi-shot hits 3 or more targets, your next aim will ricochet, hitting up to 5 additional targets, or each shot of your next rapid fire will ricochet to an additional nearby target. And again, I'll talk about rapid fire here. It's a big part of the rotation now. Precise shots is actually a very valuable thing. So every time you aim shot, your next 1 or 2, it will proc either 1 or 2 arcane shots to deal 100% more damage, and it can stack up to 2. So if you get an aim shot and you get 1 proc, you aim shot again, you'll get another 1. It's up to 2. So not wasting these is going to be a part of the thing. Mastery is very similar still. Range of all your abilities will increase. Damage of all focus spending abilities increased. Your focus spenders, by the way, are going to be aim shot, arcane shot, are your 2 main ones. Again, you can spec into some other spenders as well. Um, so we'll talk about those. We'll talk about talents here in a second. Lone Wolf's now a passive. So basically, when your pet's not out, you gain the 10% buff. If you pull a pet out, you can at any time, just with the call pet. That goes away, and then you get your pet buff. Now, I'll talk about pets probably in a later video when I do BM or when I do survival, because you're not going to have a pet out. But in case you want a pet for hero, other things, you can have it. So this is a talent. I'm going to get into that a bit later here. So True Shot's still there. It's still a 3-minute cooldown. The difference now is you gain a charge of aim shot, which again I'll talk about in a second because you now have 2 charges on aim shot. And again, you gain 30% haste for the 15 seconds on a 3-minute cooldown. Same things as before, right? Same abilities. Rapid Fire is his new ability. So it's a channeled ability. You can move while channeling. You should a stream of 10 shots at your target over. It's 3 seconds, then reduced by haste, dealing a total of X damage. Now, the number of shots doesn't change. So the more haste you get, you still get those 10 shots. It's just over a smaller duration. So that's basically just going to be increasing the damage per execute time, but not its overall damage. So again, its overall damage is going to be the same. It will only scale with things like verse and crit. Obviously not mastery because again, it's something that gets you focus, not spends focus. So again, it will only be scaling with attack power, of course, and then the other 2 that I mentioned. Multi-shot staying the same, right? Hits multiple targets within 8 yards of each other for a minimal amount. Now that's a talent. We'll talk about that in a second. Fan's still there. Exhilaration still there. Eagle Eye, that boring talent still there. Disengage is still there. Counter Shot is still here. 24-second cooldown. Concussive shots, again, same thing. Command Pet, this will be when you have a pet out. Again, depending on what kind of pet you have, is the ability you have. Either Primal Rage, which is your hero, Survival of the Fittest, which is like a survival cooldown, or Matcher's Call, which is what it was in the past. Bursting Shots now, again, still built in. It's pretty lame. You don't really use it much. As for the Turtle still there. As for the Cheetah still there. That's a glyph. Don't worry about that. Arcane Shot is here, and Arcane Shot is actually like your number 1 damage. I'll show my damage meters here in a second, but it's actually your number 1 damage ability here. Aim Shot again is the bread and butter here. You got 2 charges now. It's a 30 focus cost, 12-second recharge, cannot be reduced by haste, does a good bit of damage, and again, it's a lot of synergy with talents here. Alright, so let's look at those talents. So, first row. Master Marksman, Servant Sting, Murder Crows. Servant Sting sucks right now. It just doesn't scale very well. It doesn't integrate with anything really well. It basically does about as much as a steady shot does, but it costs 10 focus. So again, this would scale with mastery. But yeah, it's basically like a steady shot. Doesn't have any kind of interaction. It only lasts 12 seconds. It's just not strong enough right now. Now, Murder Crow's Master Marksman. I think that one of these two will be what you will pick. Master Marksman will definitely be what you pick for AoE because it, again, as you can read, gives you a chance for a free multi-shot, and again, multi-shot then procking trick shots is very important. So being able to proc free multi-shots to then go into rapid fires or go into another aim shots for the trick shot for AoE is going to be great. So this is going to be your go-to AoE talent. I think these are basically even. There are a couple other talents that I'll talk about that might make one of these better than the other, but right now Murder of Crows and Master Marksman are almost neck and neck in this spec. It should be noted that focus really isn't an issue. We'll talk later on in a 60 row about those talents being focus related, and even when I take like no focus helpers, basically, I still do fine in the rotation. And again, so that doesn't really matter much. Okay, next row here. Careful aim is what you're going to take single target, period. Its aim shot has a chance to do 100% bonus damage to targets who are above 80 and below 20% health. So not only is it an execute, but again, it's there for those burst abilities on those new targets that come out. Very, very valuable. It should be noted again that aim shot also still has that 50% increased damage against targets that have not yet been damaged. So again, if an ad spawns in and they haven't been picked up and you aim shot them, you can like one-shot some things very, very easily with that. Volley is volley. Instead of being a toggle, it's just a chance to give yourselves more damage. Explosive shot, same thing as before. Honestly, I'll be honest, they should move to survival. This should be a survival ability. It makes more sense. The biggest issue is you need to hit it again, and because of the increased range, it just doesn't make much sense. So again, you're, in my opinion, just better off moving that to survival if I was Blizzard. So volley is going to probably be your AoE talent that you're going to take. Careful aim is going to be your single target talent for sure. Next row is just, again, your kind of utility. Trailblazer is going to be great for leveling. Natural Mending we would take in raiding. It will decrease the cooldown on Exhilaration, which I think is going to be very valuable. Camouflage, I mean, it is what it is. It's fine for leveling. It might be fine for PvP or something. But, again, not for raiding. Next row. This is your Focus-esque row. So Steady Focus is interesting. Again, basically your Steady Shot reduces the cast time of your next Steady Shot up to 2 times. And it only works if you're constantly basically spamming Steady Shot. So this is going to try to put you into this kind of like builder spender rotation where you spend a lot of focus and do a bunch of steadies in a row to get yourself back up. I played around with this. It's okay. It might work well with some other talents that I'll talk about when we get to them. Streamlined. This is an interesting talent. So it basically makes Rapid Fire now a 5-second channel instead of a 3-second channel, and it only adds 6 more shots though. And again, you don't gain more shots with haste. So you actually reduce your DPS damage per execution time by taking this talent. You get more focus back because instead of getting 20 focus back, again, you get 2 per shot. You get 32. So you do get more focus with this, but as I mentioned, you don't really need focus. So yeah, I didn't find this to be too valuable. Hunter's Mark, I think, is going to be the go-to. There are some possibilities that another talent might overtake it. We'll talk about Steady Focus later on. Streamline also might be very valuable for the AoE. Again, getting those trick shots and getting those extra things, and I'll show how that works with double tap as well as later. Again, Hunter's Mark, I think is your go-to. It just 5% increased damage. You put on a target. If the target dies, you gain 20 focus. Again, you don't really need the focus, but it's nice. So again, if you put it on an ad, again, target ad, I think Marksman's going to really have a good ability of that kind of like burst ad damage. So think like Kingaroth ads style thing. I think that, yeah, Marksman's going to be very good for that. You put a Hunter's Mark on the ad, get that aim shot before anyone else has hit it, get that careful aim buff. Yeah, it's going to be really, really, really nice. So I think this is going to be your go-to for raiding. Again, Steady Focus, maybe. Streamline, probably more for AoE, obviously. All right, next row is just, again, another kind of utility. There's Binding Shot, same thing as before. 45-second cooldown, again, lasts for 10 seconds. Post-haste, same thing. Disengage, freeze. Born to be Wild, I think, is really nice because not only does it give you a decreased cooldown of Cheetah, but also Turtle. So again, a lot of survivability, a lot of movement. I think this will probably be most people's go-to. This is probably going to be more the case for cases where you need to get free, so PvP and such. And of course, Binding Shot probably for, again, Mythic Plus, those kind of things. Alright, 90 rows, kind of interesting row here. So you have lethal shots. Steady Shot has a 10% chance to cause your next aim or rapid. And the way this works is it's not like a guarantee. It will proc, and you'll either get a guaranteed aimed or a guaranteed rapid fire crit. Now, rapid fire guaranteed crits are more valuable than aim shot. Rapid fire has a higher PET than aim shot does, and so it's important that again you would want those on that ability basically. Again, this does obviously have some synergy with steady focus because the more steady shots you're getting out, the more this procs. What I found so far is it's right around a 0.86 proc per minute from what I've been seeing with the amounts of aim shots that I'm getting out in a normal rotation. So again, a little bit less than 1 proc per minute. Again, with steady focus, you might get that closer to 1 proc per minute, but we'll see how that's not going to, in my mind, be very great. Barrage is an amazing AoE talent. They've kind of fixed it. It still has that ability to pull things you don't want to pull, but it's much more contained, it's much more focused, and the damage is actually really, really good. So this is a great AoE talent. Now, Double Tap is interesting because it has both single and AoE synergy. So this could be great for again a raid fight where you have a lot of single target, but there's some ad packs to deal with. Whereas Barrage is going to be much more for your Mythic Plus style. So Double Tap, minute cooldown. Your next aim will fire a second time without be focus, or your next rapid fire shoots twice as many shots. Now this is important. You always want to double tap with rapid fire because you get double the focus. So on a 1 minute cooldown, not only do you get twice as many rapid fire shots, but you get double the focus. So a non-streamlined rapid fire would now shoot 20 shots in the same amount of time, doing double the damage, and then you get double the focus. So instead of getting 20, you get 40 focus. Same thing if you had streamlined, it would double that as well, but I said streamlined, don't think that great. So again, you're always going to double tap with rapid fire. It's where you want to be getting your extra buff. Again, if you accidentally use it with an aim shot, that's fine. But again, in general, getting that extra rapid fire is going to be better than getting the extra aim shot. Again, this can also, like I said, team up with a lot of different things. Now, last row here is going to be somewhat interesting. Calling the shots is interesting because, again, I think it really is going to have good synergy with Master Marksman because, again, anytime you cast an Arcane Shot, you reduce the cooldown of True Shot by 3 seconds. Basically, what I've calculated this to end up being is it basically will turn True Shot to about a 2-minute cooldown based upon how many Arcanes we're getting out. And Arcane, as you'll see in a second, is the biggest part of our damage. So that's, I think, going to be very good if you're taking Master Marksman. Now, Lock and Load. Your ranged auto attacks have a 5% chance to trigger lock and load, which again gives your next aim shot to cost no focus and be instant. So again, that can definitely be very nice with things like careful aim. It can be very nice, again, technically speaking, with even double tap could technically work with it, though I wouldn't suggest doing that. Now, lock and load, you get a proc about every 40 seconds or so, is what it's turning out to be with my current haste levels and my current auto shot timers. So again, that would definitely be something that's buffed with haste, but again, it's one of those things where I have a feeling Lock and Load is going to pair better with Murder for Crows, because again, Master Marksman is really going to help that getting more arcane shots out. But again, you don't really need more focus. With double tap and things like Marksman and Marksman, I found myself capping focus at times and really trying to focus on making sure I'm not doing so. Piercing shots, again, might be good for AoE. I honestly even think that Lock and Load might be just fine as well. It's an okay ability, but again, because it only hits those in the line, there's some skill to that, obviously, and it costs 35 focus, and it doesn't even do as much as the aim shot does. So, I don't know. Maybe not. Well, not that gets used. But I really think that basically you're going to take Hunter's Mark, double tap for sure, careful aim for sure, and raiding. Murder for Crows, Master Marksman kind of back and back, and Lock and Load call for shots, calling the shots back and back. Again, I think that Lock and Load, Murder for Crows might be what goes together well. Master Marksman calling the shots, again, I think might be what goes well there. But again, things can, of course, change. Things can get buffed. Looking real quickly here at the damage of, again, it's like a 6-minute, I believe. Oh, wait, let me actually find my 6-minute one. Oh, it's not there anymore. But here is an example of, again, a little bit of a rotation here. Now, in this one, again, you can see I had Murder for Crows. Again, whether you take it or not is questionable. But Arcane Shot was by far the most damage. Again, I think it really does benefit from that passive, from the precise shots. That really does help. And again, the fact that it doesn't get reduced by armor is going to be very helpful as well, being arcane damage. Then aim shot, then rapid fire, of course, murder for shot, and steady shot. As you can see, because we don't need focus, and steady shot's kind of our focus builder, we don't really study that much. So again, it's one of those things where lethal shots and steady focus kind of, I think, lose their value because you don't really need the focus. Now again, things might change. They might change the value of the focus of these abilities. But basically, the way that the rotation is going to basically go, your opener is going to probably be something along the lines of aim shot with a true shot to get back that charge. You're then going to aim shot twice. You'll then double tap and rapid fire to get a bunch of focus back. You would then basically arcane shot to dump your focus and steady shot to increase it. If you had a murder for crows, again, you would put that in on cooldown basically. Again, you're going to basically true shot on cooldown. Again, you always want to true shot when you have about 0 charges. Again, the idea here is that you want to maximize your charges. So if you have 0 aim shot charges and you use that, you're not going to be hurting the reset at all. So again, using that at 0 is going to be ideal. Double tap, again, you always want to use... You basically want to use it when you're going to be using a rapid fire before your aim shot. So you almost want to use it on cooldown, but again, you want to make sure you're going to use it and then have a rapid fire be next. You don't want to use it and then have to wait on an aimed or something like that, right? You don't want to postpone an aimed. So you are going to be using it before you need to, which is nice. They put it on cooldown to get it back faster because it's just your next one. So you can hit double tap before the pull even, and then your first either aimed or rapid would get that doubling effect. But again, using with rapid fire I think is actually a very nice focus builder and a damage increase. And again, because rapid fire is a more valuable shot, damage per execution time than aim shot is at my current haze levels, and probably at all haze levels, you definitely want to make sure you're doing that. Of course, Hunter's Mark before the pull, as always. As far as stats are concerned now, you can pull up again my character here. So again, we'll see what the percents turn out to be at 120. Chris obviously can be very nice, but again, the fact that you have all these other abilities might help or hurt that. Haste is going to have some scaling. Again, haste will definitely, of course, help things like lock and load. If you took lethal shots, though, that of course decrease the value of crit. But in general, I think crit's going to still be very valuable. Haste is going to have some value. Not a lot, though, because again, not a lot of stuff really benefit from the haste. You get the decreased, cast time, of course, and the increased focus gain. But other than lock and load, there's nothing that really else is going to be scaling off of that. Murder for Crows doesn't really scale for haste. So again, it's one of those things where there's not much that's going to really help you in that regard. Versatility, of course, is versatility. It's straight damage. Now, mastery, like I mentioned, any focus spender, so again, things like Barrage if you take it, Piercing Shots if you take it, Serpent Sting if you take it, Murder for Crows if you take it, all of those, Explosive Shot if you took it, will of course scale with your mastery, as well as of course of your aim shot and arcane shot. So the fact that steady shot again doesn't benefit from mastery, neither does rapid fire, it should say, might eventually make some scaling things odd. Right now, like I said, rapid fire is more valuable than aim shot. It might be at 120 that changes. It might be with more mastery that changes. Because again, if you see here, I have 17.84% mastery. That's the range portion. The focus damage increase is 71%. And again, you can see how much mastery I have here. So with higher levels of mastery and different levels of scaling, it might become the fact that aim shot becomes a more valuable ability than rapid fire. In general, you don't want to rapid fire if you're going to cap your focus, so you're always thinking about that anyway. So sometimes in the priority, you're going to aim shot just because you don't want to cap focus. But again, we'll of course see how that all plays out at 120. I plan to come back to this when we get to 120. But that is Marksman. Again, like I said, I think that it's a complete spec right now. I think it actually plays really fun. It does somewhat remind me of a bit more of an advanced Lich King style Marksman, minus the Serpent Sting upkeep. If they made Serpent Sting do something interesting, like proc yourself a free aimed or arcane, or do something that synergized well, even if they didn't increase the damage much, it would at least be worth to use. The problem right now is that because it's literally less valuable than a steady shot, you don't really know when to use it. It doesn't really have much value there. So again, that's going to wrap this up. I plan to do Survival Hunter next. And then if they ever fix BM, and maybe I'll even just talk about how it's broken in a video, but if they fix BM, then I'll of course do that one as well. All right, take care.